We've all now seen, or most of us have seen, the season one finale of Paradise. Overall, I just want to say this about the show. It is refreshing. It is original in a sense. It is thrilling. It's a mystery. We're all engaged. And I think there's something to be said in this climate about shows that collectively are loved. And I'm not talking about the ones that are like rated and reviewed to be great. I'm talking about you're going online and you will most likely run into a thread about it, a Instagram post about it, something about it within your first scroll session, right? I remember I was talking to my sister, she's in Vegas for work right now, and she was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to see like the season finale. I haven't been able to check it out. I'm avoiding Kev on Stage's page because I don't want him to ruin anything for me with his videos because he's really talking about it." Like when you get free publicity from everybody and their moms because it's that good, it reminds me of the Scandal times. And the reason I say Scandal out of any other show is because I just feel like that was when we all banded together. Like it's the first time I wish this show was like, even on streamers, it dropped at a specific time, not in the middle of the night. Like if it dropped on a streamer at like 8 o'clock at night, so we could be like, okay, 8 o'clock, I'm watching it on the streamer, which may be something you should think about for season two. Um, it's overall a really good show. I just want to say this: if this is what I call positive representation. The reason I say I call it positive representation is because uh you have a black man who is the most trusted person in a bunker by the president of the United States. Now, granted, I don't know about y'all, but I had all of these ideas of as to why he was chosen, about the whites. Like I just knew I knew the storyline and I didn't at all. But it actually makes it even that much better, right? Because I was trying to give a reason as to why you would trust this person that you don't know with everything from the beginning, right? Why this woman, the psychologist, would trust this man that nobody knows just from a file. And so I could be thinking too much into it, but when it comes to representation, one thing I always look at when I'm watching a TV is how are we presented. And between Sterling K. Brown and Chris Marshall, representation was everything. Even the wife, even the daughter, even this, like, even Glenn Turman when he had his little stint. Representation was everything in this show. But also, if you, I'm a big fan of Sterling K. Brown, so I follow him. But he posted like an email from Dan Fogelman, who is the creator of Paradise, but also the creator of This Is Us. And what was so dope about it was as Dan Fogelman created this, it's like he literally was like, I only person I want is Sterling K. Brown. Like it's like he was his first and only choice because the way the email read was, I have this great show. I really want you to be a part of it. Please read it. No pressure, but please, 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 we're gonna make magic. And I only want to make magic with you. And that was just how it felt. So it's like even in the foundation of this show was rooted around positive representation. So I know I'm gonna always root for us, and so like I always notice things like that, right? But overall, the show was good. Now, granted, I didn't really love the season finale. It wasn't. It didn't live up to the hype of episode seven. Episode seven was it was so emotionally traumatic that it didn't live up to it. But actually, I think if I were to watch episode seven and then eight back to back, it would have had a different result on me, right? Because episode seven was all about the humanity loss, and episode eight was the conclusion to that humanity loss, right? But because there was like a week break, I kind of disassociated with the humanity side, and I was stuck on the political thriller, the mystery, the who done it situation, and not realizing like everybody we're looking at, every single person in front of us is the threat in a sense, right? It was one person who was instrumental in making this, fought for his people to not die. Like they literally, oh man, they literally killed these people Like they knowingly kill these people just to create this world, right? They knowingly sacrifice these people just to create this world because in their eyes they were lesser than. And then look at the demographic of the people that they sacrifice, right? So look at that demographic. That's number one. But the man that rode out at dawn for them was a person who fought to get this out there and nobody listened. And then he got his way into the bunker. And as we're over here trying to figure out which power player is trying to take this man out, we're not noticing that if everybody knew what was happening, every single person would be a threat. Because the only reason he's a threat is because he knew what y'all were really doing. And he figured out what y'all were really doing. And so that's where it's like you gotta read between the lines, because if this truly gets out, like now, granted, they I'm still waiting on what happened because that little boy was on the town square talking his ish, but compared to what he was saying, imagine if everybody at the beginning, like when that guy was speaking, listened. And then it's so crazy because he is what you would call a conspiracy theorist. Now I don't go down conspiracy rabbit holes because baby, they get tricky. But maybe sometimes we should. um Overall, the series is phenomenal. It's original, it's refreshing, and it got me excited for TV again. I'm not gonna hold you. We run through shows left and right, and they're not always good. And most of the time they are forgettable. Like they're good in the moment, but they're forgettable. I had a conversation in regards to Axel Foley. We were talking about the actors or whatever. And I was like, he was, the person was saying, like, well, Eddie Murphy was in it. All these people, it was a sequel. Da, da, da. And I said, yeah, but it was exciting in the moment. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it 24 hours later. And I feel like that's a lot of times when it comes to these TV shows. But Paradise, not only have people been talking about it every single day since it premiered, but it's so interesting because season 7, I felt like was the uptick in like conversation about it. But what I thought was so dope, it was the amount of people that you could tell started watching it because of the fanfare. And that is something that if I was a marketing person, especially if I was marketing a TV show and everything, I would look at the fanfare around the social media conversations around this show because it's giving something different. But overall, this is a really good series. It's a really, really good series. I cannot wait for season 2. With that being said, I'm gonna list out. I've created a whole list, and I'll leave the link below. But I'm also gonna list out some shows that will hold you over because yes, Paradise is great, but there's a lot of them that are similar. Oh, and before I get into the list, I just want to say this. While I love the entire series, I did not love the season finale. I didn't think it was, everybody was like, it's so emotional. I didn't think it was that emotional, but I felt like it humanized the series tenfold. And it was actually very necessary. So I ain't gonna hold you. If you were to binge watch 1 through 8, it's probably a really great watch. And I might go do that, do a day of binging it straight through because yeah, it probably makes it 10x better for real, for real. And I don't really love binging anymore, but this might be the one. But hands down, episode 4 and episode 7 were the most gut punching episodes of the series so far. Yeah, so now into some TV shows to get into if you are impatiently waiting for them to drop the premiere date for season 2. Okay, here are 15 shows similar to Paradise to hold you over until season 2. Number 1, and I'm separating them in 3 categories: political thrillers and conspiracies, dystopian sci-fis and thrillers, and power and control and fragility of a society. Oh, I'm gonna list these out without any explanation because, like I said, they fall in these categories. So if that was more of the aspect that you liked in the series, the political side, the thriller, dystopian, sci-fi, power struggle, fragility of a society, all these type of things, then you're gonna like these shows because they fall in under these like categories. Starting with political thrillers and conspiracy. Number 1, Night Agent. Number 2, Zero Day. Number 3, The Event. Number 4, Occupied. And number 5, Designated Survivor. Moving along, dystopian and sci-fi thrillers. Number 1, and this show may be the closest to Paradise, and that's Silo. Number 2, Snowpiercer, number 3, Colony, number 4, Severance, and number 5, Ascension. And then these fall under Power, Control, and Fragility of Society. Number 1 is 3%, number 2 is Black Mirror, number 3 is The Expanse, number 4 is House of Cards, and number 5 is Diplomat. And then honorable mention is Hot Skull. So check these out if you are waiting for your fix for Paradise Season 2. Now, I said on my piece what I need to say. I think I can go more in depth if anybody wants to break down this, that, and the third, but I think there's probably about 100, 200, think pieces and thoughts about this series. Get one from them, unless y'all truly want to hear what I have to say. Okay, see you in the comment section.